Good afternoon from the Gangsta Garden. This is Michelle. I wanted to talk a little bit about houseplants today. It is December 2nd, and in Michigan we got dumped on with snow, but I had a question from somebody off of my YouTube channel. There's Sage. She's mad because I'm not letting her play with her toys right now because they squeak and she's gonna pick one up, I know it. So Sherry from New Jersey asked me in my last video, she said, hey, can you recommend some low light houseplants that I might be able to use? And I'm like, all right. I was never a houseplant person. My mother was. She had them everywhere. I didn't become a houseplant person until COVID. And then I just started collecting them and getting them from people, free cuttings here and there. Check your local library, by the way. I know our library gives out free cuttings and potted plants and all kinds of stuff. So just check that out. Even Facebook Marketplace, a lot of people will give away plants. So check that out. I found several plants in my house that can go with very low light. I thought I'd share them with you. Okay, this one, I can never say the Latin name right. So I wrote it down phonetically. Tradescantia. I'm terrible at it. But there is a history behind this plant. One of my favorites. Got a cutting from a girlfriend maybe 18 months ago. And I mean, this is the plant been separated 5-6 times. So it has beautiful, beautiful variegation, really easy. The one thing I will say is it does get a little heavy because it will tip over on you, and that's happened to me several times. It happened to me just today. So just be careful of that. A bigger pot would probably help it stay a little bit more stable, but it also has really dry soil right now. You wouldn't know because the plant looks really, really happy. So what you can do with this is you can keep it, it does get a little wider than maybe what you're looking for, Sherry, but I have alternatives. But I did want to share that if this plant gets too big, you do cuttings, you stick them in water, they get rooted really, really fast. One thing I love about these, you can, little itty bitties that I cut off, again, big, beautiful, huge root system, which makes me super happy. And here is another variety. It's just a darker variety. So this is called Moses in the Cradle, or, and I'm going to say this once and I'm not going to say it again. It is also called, some people refer to it as Wandering Jew. Please don't do that. It's a very negative connotation through the years, particularly from the Nazis. So some people call it Wandering Dude, because if you're like me and you can't say the Latin name because that's just how you are, great plant, great house plant, super easy. I will say this, don't get the leaves wet. The leaves hate to be wet. So when you're watering it, just be really careful. One of my number one, it might be a little too big for the space you're thinking of. So number two is another one of my favorites. Can get really big and out of control, but you can also keep it small. Just a Pothos. Isn't that beautiful? I saved this one from Lowe's a few years ago, and I have cut it off several times. This one is called Marble Queen. So it has beautiful, beautiful variegation in it, and it has some of the most gorgeous little leaves on it. I love this one. So Marble Queen, they have tons of varieties of these, but this thing just goes out of control. And when it does get really long, because these can trail 6 feet. I've cut this plant several times. Each one of these is one cutting from that plant. I know. And it's just in water. Occasionally I give the water a little bit of fertilizer, not much. It doesn't really need anything. It tells you very quickly if it doesn't like anything. It's happy. So I'm trying a new method with this. Since they get so long, I'm trying to keep them a little shorter. So I read that if you take them and you pull the leaves off and you kind of entwine the stem, you know, the contact with the dirt and the moisture where the buds are, these little nodes right here, those will root for you. And it did start for me. That's how this part started. And I said, well, we're going to keep going with that. So if you want to keep it a little more compact, you can do that. Or you can just trim them like I do and stick them in water, give them to a friend, bring them to your library. Makes a good plant for a new home for somebody. So super cool. Here's a different variety of the pothos. This one is called Neon Green. I have named this one. Her name is Pink. I know she's not pink, but she has the attitude of pink. She just does. And it's a beautiful, beautiful color. And you can see the newer leaves, they're a light green. So as it gets older, it gets a little darker, but one of my favorite plants. Thanks, Jess. She gave it to me for Christmas a couple years ago, not recently, but that's a really cool one. This one I have found does not do as well when you take a cutting. They tend to be really spindly. It could be me. Again, not a houseplant expert, okay? I'm a former master gardener, but I learned by doing with the houseplant. So that's what I found with this one. When I take a cutting and I put it in water, it doesn't seem to love it and it gets really spindly. So I just trim it to keep it fuller looking. So, and then I also have here, one of my favorites, and this one will stay small. It will get tall. It doesn't take up a lot of room. Like this one is actually large. So this one is called snake plant, or it's called mother-in-law's tongue. Okay, side quest. Mother-in-law's tongue was discovered in 1867 by a German botanist. And I guess they said, oh, look, it's sharp and pointy like a mother-in-law's tongue. Could be. I'm going to leave that there for myself. But I will say this. Yesterday, I got a text from my son-in-law. He says, hey, I saw your video. I saw your YouTube video. I'm like, oh, cool. He's like, I really liked it. He's like, I'm proud to call you my mother-in-law. So I was like, thanks. So these love it compact. They love a small pot. They want it very tight rooted, and I'll show you why. I started this cutting probably about 9 months ago. They're really easy to propagate. I'll show you that in a different video. So this is one, but can you see how wobbly it is? You know, if it has support around it, it's going to be fine. It wants more support. So I am going to stick more in here to kind of give it what it wants, but this is what it wants. It wants this. It wants to be really tight inside that pot. That's what it wants. And this thing just sits in the corner of my bedroom. I forget to water it. I think I water it maybe once a month. It's suffering a little bit right now because I have ignored it, but I will pay more attention to you now. All right, those were 4 plants. So we had the Wandering Dude. That was 3 plants. I have a 4th one over here. Wandering Dude, the one I can't say the Latin name of. Pothos, okay. Mother-in-law's tongue or snake plant. And don't judge me on how this looks, okay? This is a spider plant. I've never had a spider plant. I just got this from the library last week. A lot of times people will come in with plants that, you know, someone passes away and say they have all these flowers at the funeral or the plants at a funeral, and they go, I can't take care of these right now. It's too much. So they'll bring them to the library. My friend Molly, she takes them, she divides them, she takes care of them. She puts them out for patrons, which is awesome. This one has been sitting around a little while and has not received any loving care. I know that this is going to pick up soon. So these are the babies. I know a lot of you guys are very familiar with spider plants. This is honestly my first spider plant I've ever had. My mom had them everywhere. My therapist had them too. And I'd say to her, they look so good. And she's like, I don't do anything to them. I'm like, okay, that's a plant for me. One of the things I do want to warn you about with any of these plants is the humidity in your house, particularly in the winter. I notice in the winter my plants need a lot more water because it is really dry. So just keep an eye on that, and also the placement of your plants. I know in my house, I have to move plants around depending on the time of year. Right now I'm facing out and the sun, I'm facing south right now, and my plants love it. But in the summer, the sun hits totally different in the house, so I have to shift plants around. And when I do that, what I need to remind myself of is, where are my vents? Where are the registers and the vents for my heat system? Because I've realized that some of them were being blown on directly in one of my back rooms. Okay, I only have 2 bedrooms. It's like not like there's a back 40 acres. No, there's not. There's 672 square feet and that's it. So you can see the challenge with trying to keep houseplants. So a couple of them dried out really bad and they didn't look good. And I was like, what is wrong with you? And then I realized the heat kicked on and I said, oh, you're drying out really fast and you don't like this being blown on you. Same goes for the air conditioner in the summer. I did that with a plant and it still hasn't recovered. I don't know. I can't have difficult plants, especially inside. So I thought that some of these could be good choices for an easy to care for small plant. You can make them small, you can keep them small, that don't need a lot of care and don't need a lot of light. So there you go. There's your little tutorial. I feel like there was something I was going to tell you. Oh, I know what it was. Here's me with my notes again. I was studying up on, air purifying. These are all air purifying plants. Legitimately, all plants are, right? Right. Yeah, they clean the air, okay? NASA, however, found that one of the best plants for that is a pothos, but particularly the golden pothos. This is not a golden pothos, but I thought that was really cool that NASA did this study and figured that out. Well, it is NASA. Go figure. I'm not NASA. Oh, and by the way, Sherry comes from New Jersey. So here is my Rebuild Seaside shirt from my friend Christina, who's in New Jersey. These shirts were made after Hurricane Sandy, and it was to help raise money to help rebuild the boardwalk that was destroyed. So just giving a shout out to my Jersey peeps. That's all. Hey, from Michigan, I'm going to leave you with this. Have a great, what is today? See, this is what happens when I don't work a regular schedule. It's Tuesday. It's book club night. Yes, I get to go to book club. Speaking of, I'm thinking of starting a book club on here. If that's something you might be interested in, let me know, because I think it'd be kind of cool for us to discuss books and talk about books as a group. So thank you. Okay, another side quest. I hope this audio comes out okay. I'm trying to use my teacher voice. I got a microphone. I can't figure it out. I've tried looking up videos on YouTube. It's not doing what it says it's going to do. So I may have to go to my library again and have one of my coworkers take a look at it. I'm sure I'm doing something wrong. I don't know. This is all new to me. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm figuring it out as I go. All right. Thank you for hanging out with me at the Gangsta Garden that is covered in snow right now. And I hope you got a little bit of information on houseplants that you might find useful. Have a great rest of your week. Now I'm going to do this weird thing where I got to shuffle over. Thanks. Have a really great week.